So it's been a while because I just thought I was filming a whole episode and then realized I never hit the record button. Well, hello and welcome back to the Kayla Crafts podcast. Hopefully you remember me because it's been a while. This is episode I want to say 5, but I could be wrong because like I said, it's been about over a year since I've done one of these. In fact, if you had seen any of my earlier episodes, you'll notice the background looks kind of different, which makes sense because in that year and a half I moved. And so things are probably going to look different until I find myself a good crafty corner for this. You can tell I'm a bit rusty, right? Because it's been a while and I haven't done this and I don't remember how to talk in front of a camera. So I apologize if this seems a little bit rough today, but we're going to make it work because despite the fact that it's been a while, I'm super happy and excited to be back talking in front of the camera like this. And I'm going to try and explain a little bit of that craziness probably closer to the end of the podcast because I've had some big things happen and some new exciting life things that are going to be happening. But I also really want to just jump into the content and the fibery things because, hey, that's why you're here. And I'll get to all of that later. So let's just jump right into things. You can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry under the same name, Kayla Crafts. You can also find my hand-dyed yarn company, Peachy Skein, both on Instagram and on Ravelry, also using the same name, Peachy Skein. I'll have all of those links and all that good old stuff in the Dropbox down below. Yeah. I want to show you some finished objects, and of course, I didn't plan this very well, so please be patient with me as I want to show you stuff that I don't actually have ready with me to show you. For instance, my first and most recent finished object I would love to share with you in person like this. It's actually a shawl I knit for my mom. However, my mom still has that shawl. I forgot to ask her for that this morning. So instead, what I'm going to do is try and insert some pictures here so that way you can see what I'm talking about. But I knitted for my mom the Free Your Fade shawl by Andrea Mowry. It's a pattern that I'm sure you're all familiar with. I also actually knit it for myself last year. I decided to go ahead and make this shawl for her, and to make it extra special, I used some of her yarn. Because my mom is also a yarn dyer. She goes by the name Dye Happy Yarn Company. And so you can find her both on Instagram and on Etsy, both as Dye Happy Yarn Co. And again, all that stuff is going to be down below. I'm going to list it all there for you so that way there's an easy link to get through stuff. So I used 3 yarns that were actually pretty special for her. The first color I used was Starburst. That was a color she made for my older sister. And then the second color I used was a color called Silly Putty, which was done for my niece. And the third color that I used was her color called Irises, and that was actually her first ever color that she dyed. So all 3 yarns were incredibly special for her, and then the fact that I made her the shawl obviously made it special again. So she's got that, and she's been wearing it actually quite frequently. She's gonna get a lot of use out of it. But I wish I had it here to show you. I don't. Again, I'm sorry. Like I said, didn't really prepare for this much at all. But I'm going to move on to the next finished object that I have. So I have with me a hat that I finished last month. And actually, I finished it the month before, and then last month I actually weaved in the ends. Yeah. So this is the warm-up hat by Julie Knits in Paris. It was part of her ballerina collection of patterns. I believe there was 3 total that it came with. And so I had, on a whim, had bought the whole collection. I went ahead and did this one first. I used 2 skeins, obviously, for the brioche. So I used the main color, which you see here, is going to be Fiber for the People yarn. This is the colorway Summer Drop Cloth. Yes, Summer Drop Cloth, that's what it is. And then the contrast color I used, ooh, didn't leave that wet ended. Oopsies. Contrast color I used was rose gold. This was a yarn dyed by my older sister, Gina, who is Craft All the Things. Through her yarn company, Squish This Yarn. So she gifted me 2 skeins of this color, and I had made a shawl with this on a distant beach. And I can't remember who did the pattern, but that was the pattern name. You can find all of this on my Ravelry page, by the way, if you go into my projects. So made this. I had about half a skein left over, and so it was the perfect amount for this hat. It gives it a really nice, delicate. It's like you don't almost notice the brioche at first. You have to kind of be looking close at it. Which I like, which is kind of how I prefer my brioche things to look, is to be very subtle. Can't see how this looks. Hopefully it looks pretty cool. And yeah, we're liking it. I don't know, I've worn it a couple times already, so I'm getting some use out of it. I would definitely knit this again. It was very easy. I actually knit it back in the summer, and I was almost done with it, and then I had to look up one of the techniques on YouTube, and it was one of those things where I was like, I'll do that tomorrow, and then I never did, as I just forgot. It's like one of those running themes you might notice with me. I just forget things a lot of the time. I think maybe that's what I should call this episode, is sorry I forgot. Yeah, we'll go with that. That sounds good. Anyway, so I was like 5 rows away from finishing it, essentially, and I just forgot about it, and then I picked it up, I found it in September, and I was like, let me see if I can finish this really quick, and I finished it in a day, and then I just never weaved the ends in, and so then last month I did that, and now I can wear it. That's the moral of the story, is that it did get done before it was cold, and I've worn it like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. So the next finished object I'm going to show you is my Burst into Bloom shawl. This is a pattern by Tina Say. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm so sorry if I didn't, Tina. This was knit over the summer. I actually was a test knitter for this, which was exciting. And I wear this actually quite a lot at work because it gets cold where I work. It's a super just lightweight shawl and very versatile because I was able to wear it in the summertime with some stuff, as well as now in the fall. I'm getting some use out of it. But this shawl was so much fun to knit. I used 2 colors for it. Let me take that off. Again, don't have my little end yarn balls to show you, which would have been an easier way to show you the color, but I'll remember next time. Maybe I'll name the podcast the episode that. I'll remember next time. I used 2 colors, both on a glittery base yarn. One was a color that my mom made, and this is the solid color. So she did this color berry. I did this kind of green color here, and this is called Mermaid Lagoon. When I originally applied to do the test knit, I think I had another solid color picked out. Actually I have it right here because I had picked this color out with it originally, and I just didn't like the pop, how it wasn't a very good pop for me as I started knitting it. And when I switched it out to this berry of my mom's, it won me over. It really did. I picked the Mermaid Lagoon because it was one of those colors where I was just dying to use it because I fell in love with it after I dyed it. And I'm so glad to have a finished object with this color because I love it so much. Green is one of my favorite colors, if you haven't already been able to tell. And again, this pattern, like I said, it was so easy and no part of it ever got boring, because before you would get to that, before you would get to that point, you were switching to a different section. You were either striping, or you were doing the lace work, or you were doing this cool kind of slip stitch part, which I think this part right here was my favorite to do. So it was it kept my interest, and I got it done, you know, on time, which was nice. Burst Into Bloom, this by Tina Say. Go look at all of her patterns. She has some really cool ones out right now, and I'm dying to try another one of hers. She's such a good designer. Texture that she uses in her patterns is just so interesting that I imagine knitting any pattern of hers is probably, it keeps you motivated to finish. All right, I'm gonna move on to other stuff, to works in progress. I have one half object, and that is this sock right here. Again, something I forgot that I made. This was knit over the summer in my color Enchanted. And it was one of those things where I just really wanted to see what this looked like knitted up. And so I was just like, what the heck, I'm gonna just make myself socks. And I made this one and I forgot. And then I never made a second one. But now that I'm doing this, I remember this sock, and I'm gonna finish the second pair. It's just a vanilla sock, and honestly, I don't know what I was thinking when I made this, because I knit it toe up, and as I was binding off at the cuff, I just did a regular bind off, and so it's not very stretchy, and my foot can't really fit in it over the heel. So I'm actually going to have to take back this bind off and then probably go back a row or two and do like a stretchy bind off. I wasn't really thinking when I made this. And then I really wasn't thinking when I went to go do a second pair. But hey, sometimes that happens. It doesn't really, but it happens to me. I'm just really bad. One of the longest works in progresses that I have is my Zweig sweater. And that is, ooh, get all those crazy strings. That is this right here. So yes, I am past the sleeve point and I'm working the body and I'm losing a little bit of steam. But can I just share with you the craziness of this Zweig? This was the first sweater for myself, and it includes some color work and lace, as you probably already know. I'm sure you've seen a million of these, but for some reason I just was not reading the pattern correctly, and so I knit this probably 3 times now, because every time I would go to separate for the sleeves, I was just off my stitches somehow, and I really did something goofy, and I was just not doing the short row shaping correctly, which now I fixed, and now I figured that out. It just took me like a year to figure that out, but I figured it out. And my intention was to actually have the body, possibly the sleeves done by Thanksgiving. I don't see that happening unless I just get all the energy in the world. If I can get this finished before Christmas, it will be a Christmas miracle. The 2 colors that I use for my Zweig is Northern Cardinal and O Wool, and that's going to be the solid red. And then the pretty color here that you see is Long Dog yarn. This was in, I had gotten this color like last summer. It was, I believe, her either August or September color of the month colorway, because I originally had a different color for my color work section. I wasn't really liking how it turned out, and so then when I paired it with this one, it was just like magic. And I'm so happy that I made that choice, because I feel like I'm gonna get a lot more use out of it whenever I finally finish this thing. But so that's my Zweig. I feel like because I had such a hard time with doing this, that like any sweater now I can tackle and I can do. And so I do have motivation to finish this, because now there's other sweaters that I'm like, yeah, I got this. I can knit that now. I understand how sweaters work. I probably don't understand how sweaters work, but in my mind, I understand how sweaters work. The second work in progress that I have is my Birds of a Feather shawl. Here is what I have of my Birds of a Feather shawl. Oops. The mohair is getting all tangly. Does anyone else have that problem? So I am knitting this with one of my colors. This is Peach Princess, and I'm using it on my single ply base and also on my mohair base. And it's the same color on both bases. As you can see, I've got just a couple more repeats and then I'm done with this thing. I've got the one corner right there, and then I'm just working my way down. Obviously, peach is my thing, and I knew I wanted to have a sample piece in one of my signature peachy colors. And so that was kind of what inspired me to do this, Birds of a Feather. And also the Birds of a Feather pattern kind of became a huge hit over the summer. And so it was hard not to want to do it as well with everyone else. What I do have done of this, I really, really enjoy. And the mohawk hair is nice and soft. This is living in my Beautiful Sister bag that I got at Vogue Knitting Live in Chicago this year, actually. And I really enjoy it. I don't know if you're familiar with Beautiful Sister bags, but I'll link them down below. I'm sorry, I'm just picking my hair off of stuff. But it's really nice to carry, because you carry it like on your arm like this, so you can be standing or walking or doing whatever. But I really love this bag, and I love the color, and I love peachy things. And there it is. There is Peach Princess on my single ply, and then on my mohair. Yeah, fun stuff, guys. My next work in progress that I have to show you is something I just cast on recently, and kind of on a whim. I follow the Wool Needles Hands podcast pretty well, and she is doing a year-long knit-along for hats, and I've kind of always been jumping in and just not finishing the hat that I was trying to do on time, because I forget, and that's just... I started one because this was kind of a freebie month, Knitter's Choice, and so I started the Harlow hat by Andrea Mowry, which obviously didn't get very far with yet, but it's just a simple brioche hat. I don't know if you can see. And again, I kind of picked subtle brioche choices. I'm actually using my leftover skein of Starburst that I used for my mom's Free or Fade shawl. So I'm using Starburst leftover, and I'm just using a one-of-a-kind color I came up with. Literally doesn't even have a name, but basically it's kind of like a gold, and I've got like really bright magenta speckles on it. This is on my glitter base, and then this was on my mom's just regular sock base. And so there is like a slight glitter sheen to it. Hopefully I'll be able to finish this hat this month to be able to submit it for the knit along. Because I would love to at least submit once to the knit along. And it's a pretty mindless thing to be knitting while you're watching TV. I just have other things that I'm trying to make sure I finish first. But once those things are finished, I think I'm going to really just focus on this and get this done for this month, which I think I can do. I think I'm capable of that. So my last work in progress I want to show you all today is my white thorn socks. And this was a pattern, or this is a pattern by Lindsay of Lost and Fawn, which you can find her on Instagram as @LostandFawn. And here is my second sock, which there's the front of it. I have the heel done. I'm working just on the foot part of it. I have like 5 more repeats of the cable pattern you see, and then I just have to decrease for the toe. And so I can totally knock this out today if I really just focus. But that's my problem, is just focusing. I have the one already done. It's on this blocker. I haven't actually officially blocked it yet. It's just been sitting on this blocker for pictures. But so I have the one finished, and this one I did with the 9-inch circular needles, and I'm trying really, really hard to like the 9-inch circulars. I want to like them. It's just, I don't know if I can. And trying to do 9-inch circulars, like while I'm doing cables, might not have been the best choice that I've made in my crafting life. And I think I'm going to try 9-inch circulars again, maybe with a vanilla sock first. But it was a hard time. I had a hard time with this. Aside from all that, there was stuff going on at the time that made it really difficult for me to knit. And so that, on top of trying to use a new type of needle, it made it really difficult for me to finish this sock. Look how close. I'm so close. I'm gonna get it done. But this, I knit in my color, Peach Blossom, which I kind of renamed. But so this was my color Peach Blossom, and it's just very soft and pink, and I'm a very big fan. The pattern itself is beautiful. From any angle that you take a look at it, it's just, it's stunning. I don't know how she came up with this, but it's so beautifully done and written. If you have not knit or seen her patterns, go check them out. Or if you're a big fan of cable-y socks or pattern socks, this is definitely one you need to try. I know that once I finish, I'm gonna wear these all the time, because they look so nice. And so they'll look so nice paired with anything. But yeah, that's my white thorn socks. I'm gonna finish them. I'm gonna do it. This is what I have to finish before I work on anything else. At this point, I want to share with you some of the yarn that I still have available in my Etsy shop. I'm gonna just kind of link some, or I'm gonna just kind of throw up some pictures here, so that way you can take a look at what is available to buy in the shop. And as a special thank you for you guys tuning into this, if you are interested in purchasing any yarn from the shop right now, you can use this discount code KCP15 for 15% off in the shop. There's going to be no minimum that you have to buy to get that discount off. This is just a thank you from me to you for tuning in since it's been so long. And so yeah, that brings me on to life stuff. Like I kind of implied at the beginning, it's been a bit of a crazy year for me. I work a full-time job. I'm at a bank, and over the past year, my branch manager left, my regional manager left, and we had just a shakeup of employees coming and going, and so it caused and created a really stressful environment for me. I was working all the time, and so it left little time for craftiness, unfortunately. But that was just, I was just seeing the trees in that moment and not seeing the forest, because it opened up some doors for me, which was wonderful and great. Because of all of that craziness happening, I was kind of fast-tracked into becoming a branch manager of the branch that I work at, which was both kind of like overwhelming but a blessing, because it made me able to move into the apartment that I am now, and it made me able to do a lot of things, really. And in the first week of October, I actually flew out to Oklahoma for training, which was such an experience, but I don't want to get too far into that. Another thing that kind of happened, a pretty exciting thing, I had a lot of stuff planned. In July, I was coming up with all of these ideas I wanted to do with my Etsy shop and with my knitting and with this podcast for the month of August, because my town does a peach festival, and so I really wanted to do something special with that, because that was one of the things that helped inspire my name. I'm reaching out to all these people because I'm trying to make some things happen, and I'm really excited for stuff creatively. And then about the end of July, I found out I was pregnant, which was a bit of a surprise. Wasn't planning that one, but it's still a blessing, and I'm still happy that it's happening. So found out I was pregnant, and unfortunately, it sucked out all of the creative life and energy out of me. I didn't even want to look at yarn because I just couldn't. I was nauseous all the time, and dizzy and tired and exhausted, and it just was not happening, which was unfortunate because I was trying to get a lot of stuff done. I was doing the test knit for the Whitethorn socks for Lindsay, and it just was not working for me at the time, unfortunately, because all of this other extraness and stress was going on. But I am happy that I am expecting, and I'm due March 23rd, so I'll have another little one then. I recently got an ultrasound done, and so here are some of my baby pictures. I did find out what I'm having, but I don't want to reveal it yet to you guys. I'm trying to find a creative way to do it. I don't want to do like a yarn club, a mystery yarn club, because I don't think I have the time to do something like that. But I think what I'm going to do is just film an additional video of just maybe my yarn dyeing process, and then just kind of keep it black and white, and then by the end of the video you'll see what color I went with, and just do a yarn for the baby. But yeah, so hopefully I'll keep you all updated with baby stuff, and hopefully I can keep a more regular schedule with this. I'm so glad that I just bit the bullet and decided to shoot this today, even though I wasn't very prepared. I'm excited because I think I'm at like my 20 weeks mark. I've reached that second trimester point where I'm starting to feel like I have more energy and my creativeness is coming back. I'm really excited and motivated to finish some of these knitting projects, to dye some more yarn, to talk more to you, and hopefully that stays. Like I said, I'm happy to be in front of you all again. I'm so grateful and appreciative of anyone who's watching this again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And until I talk to you next time, I hope you have